Hello, Mother dear.
Okay.
Welcome, Edwardian schoolboys, faculty and staff, father of mine, mother of mine, son of mine, and daughter of mine, to episode 306 of an Unearthly Podcast, streaming live on the 29th of May, 2019, and featuring Human Nature, Family of Blood, written and adapted by Paul Cornell, and starring David Tennant as the Doctor, and Freema Agyeman as Martha Jones. I am Bill Sylvia, the Man in Black, and Amazon Prime sucks. Well, specifically, Prime Video sucks. Amazon Prime is pretty cool, but Prime Video sucks. With me are Randy Ronson McCulloch.
It's just your problem, Bill. Prime was fine to me.
Mad Matt Winchell.
You forgot the scarecrows.
Tim the Enchanter Sheridan.
Greetings, y'all.
And Thomas Fireheart.
You should have probably figured that George and Reed would have the green side.
Yep, I'm back. I'm back from the dead. Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated.
and you thankfully managed to update our script in a way to let me know which one of us was reading the opening.
I decided
while we could not speak.
I decided that while Matt was actually counting down. I decided I looked at the top and I went, wow, that's a lot of purple. Let me fix that.
So, I hear rumors that the man has escaped from his noose. That's kept him hanging around.
So, the reason I wasn't here last week and why we didn't stream the week before is I was having trouble even getting down to my car in the parking garage without breaking into these huge racking coughing fits, which would start off my gag reflex. And Erin's just looking at me going, you have to go to urgent care. So I dropped her off at work and I drove to urgent care. Urgent care basically heard what's going on, called an ambulance, and they took me to UW Hospital here in Madison, where I was kept for about 10 hours and subject to a lot of tests.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of tests. And they said, okay, well, your heart is down to about 15%. That's not good.
It's like bridge levels.
You might have blood clots in your lungs. We're not certain. But what we're going to do is we're going to send you over to Meriter Hospital because we are out of beds here. And they're going to take care of you for a while. I'm like, okay. So they put me in another ambulance, drive me not all the way across town, but, crossed a bit of town, and sent me up to the 11th floor of Meriter Hospital. Meriter Hospital only has 11 floors, where I would spend the next 8 days, because it was now approximately 6 in the morning. During that time, they decided to assume I have blood clots, put me on a IV of heparin, which is a blood thinner, which was my friend for the next 8 days, until they decided the best thing they were going to do was switch me over to warfarin, which is the pill hard version. Remind me, I still need to take that tonight. And slowly try to get me off the IV so they could discharge me. Well, I'm thinking of this more like a vacation now. I got meals served to me in bed. They were not the greatest meals, but having had food at the UW hospital, they were better than the UW hospital's food.
Take the levels of quality where you can.
There were some meals that were actually pretty good. I had a pesto penny pasta one night that was just, oh my God, that was good. I'm like, I'm not really hungry. Open up the tray. I'm going to eat all of this.
I'm about to devour you. I'm suddenly all the peckish.
Yeah, it was just unbelievably, it smelled so good. So I had some good meals. I had some bad meals. I got used to having eggs and toast for breakfast.
Hmm.
I tried a few other things. I tried their pancakes. I tried what they laughingly called a Belgian waffle. But I always came back to the eggs and toast. Fun fact, if you are at a place like that and you order your toast with one with peanut butter and the rest with jelly, you can kind of make yourself a toasted peanut butter and jelly sandwich for
Yay.
breakfast.
Never realized you could pick what you eat when you're in the hospital.
Oh yeah, I kind of had to because I'm on this special low sodium, watch your saturated fat diet. So basically, there is a menu in the room, and I could order it, but if I hit over my limits, they would tell me. So each time I ordered food, it became a negotiation.
Mm-hmm. Gotta get you trained. Gotta get you ready.
It's like, okay, so you can have the pork tenderloin with gravy and the mashed potatoes, but you can't have gravy on your mashed potatoes. I'm like, I can deal with that. Take some of the gravy off the tenderloin, put it on the mashed potatoes. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
But it was figuring things out and doing that, and I'm using some of it as a basis for my diet now. Shortly after I got back, Aaron went to the grocery store and bought me Bear brand chicken breasts, which are about the lowest sodium you can find in chicken breasts. And I spent Sunday or Monday just frying those things up in Pam, or I could do olive oil too. And now when I'm hungry, I go in there, I grab half a chicken breast, throw it in the microwave for a minute and a half, and put it in a bun with lettuce and baby Swiss cheese, a little bit of mayo, a little bit of mustard, and I got myself a sandwich.
Why do they call it baby Swiss?
The holes are
Made
smaller
from a
than
baby
regular.
cow. Oh, okay.
The holes are smaller than regular Swiss, which makes it slightly sweeter. I think baby Swiss was invented in a town I used to live in. Fenimore, I think, was the originator of baby Swiss.
Oh, so not Switzerland then.
No.
Learning all sorts of new things today.
Well, that might have been the origin of Swiss cheese originally, but baby Swiss is more of an American invention. Anyway, to get me out of the hospital, the last thing they needed to do is I had to talk to this guy and get fitted for this thing called a life vest, which is essentially a wearable defibrillator, because they're afraid I might suddenly go into cardiac arrest and this thing should shock me back to life. This is, my God, the most horrible piece of tech I have ever seen in my life. Instead of weaving it into like an undershirt or something, it is kind of like a reverse bra.
Oh.
Only instead of cups in the back, it has basically a back holder that holds paddles. And then the sensors are along the arms, and they stretch, and they have the little bra hooks, only they hook in the front. And one of the arms has another paddle on it to try to shock you back to life. This is a horrible thing because those straps tend to roll and take the sensors with it. Well, every time the sensors are out of place, the thing beeps at me. I can't go 5 minutes without it beeping at me.
So it has all the inconvenience of the portable chemo pump, but also extra inconvenience.
And then you have to carry this thing around your neck that weighs... Are you familiar with a late 60s, early 70s camera?
Yeah.
You know, the ones that used to come in like a leather satchel?
Mm-hmm.
Are
we talking about photo camera, or we're talking about the camcorders or the film cameras?
No, we're talking about photo cameras, pre
Photo cameras, yeah, those
Polaroids.
big clunkers, yeah.
Like, say, I'm processing an image.
Like the
Something
ones
like
that Gonzo used in the Great Muppet Caper?
something like this.
Yeah.
That weighs about 10 to 15 pounds. Well, I have a thing that weighs about that has to plug into this vest at all times. So I have to wear this around my neck, and I refer to it as the albatross.
Pretty neat albatross flavor.
Well, that's not why. Anybody who knows your poetry might know the rhyme of the ancient mariner. The guy who eventually had to wear a dead albatross around his neck. That's why.
That's
Because
a new one, but okay.
It's a very old poem. He killed this albatross, so he's cursed to wear it around his neck for all eternity. But so I refer to it as the albatross because it's big, clunky, and horrible. It's basically, I look at this whole thing, it's like, was this like a half-developed prototype? They have a what they call a range extender or hotspot, which I looked at it, and it's basically a repurposed Galaxy S4. Even has the Team Mobile logo on the back. I'm just like, what the hell?
As long as the people who attached it to you didn't say that you will become like us.
You will be upgraded.
No. But I mean, you know, I can't get this thing to go 5 minutes without beeping at me. My trips up the Beltline these days are punctuated by beep, 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 beep. It's like, God damn it, I hate this thing. We just got the second of the reverse bras in the mail today, which is good because the old one was starting to smell like goats.
Ooh.
Because of course I had to wear it 24/7 before
Yeah.
I said, okay, this is ridiculous. I can't sleep with this thing on because it keeps fucking beeping at me. I am not wearing it now because it would be beeping during the podcast. It is.
So you can turn the beeping off, or
no? I just didn't. I unplugged it and took out the battery. Yeah, because it is a piece of shit. I am going to be talking to my cardiologist. I'm going to be talking to the manufacturer. This thing is just not tenable.
By talking with them, you mean you're going to be making a noose out of the thing, I take it.
This thing needs to go back to the designer and cook for a bit. Because, yeah, it's a horrible... Can you imagine walking around for the rest of your life with a frickin' 20-pound camera around your neck, strangling you as you're trying to go places? Yeah, that's kind of what my life is like.
Well, I've only proven that it's very easy to make a noose out of it.
You seem to be hung up on this news thing, Matt.
Oh no, it's
at least the third time.
Maybe I think it's because I've been listening to AC/DC lately.
Okay. Anyway, so on tonight's show, we've got news and birthdays. We've got a little bit of Geek Talk. We've got a review of Shame coming from not Bill for once, Tim, reviewing last week's episode. Mine will be coming in a later episode or in a later podcast. I have not had a chance to rewatch it. I have, however, given my ratings and subject to change, but at the moment that's still a 5. I love that episode. So, and I kind of asked what you guys had against it on the 4.5s, and you're like, Scottish monks. I don't care. That made it awesome.
I couldn't remember what else.
It's still silly, but it was fun.
There was at least one other nitpick, but I can't remember what it was.
Some of the background characters were kind of
yeah, but then you had Queen Vic. Come on.
She was definitely one of the highlights.
Yeah, for me the bright definitely outshone the dim. So
Hmm.
anyway, let's move on to our after the review of Shane, we'll be doing our episode summary, our review, final thoughts, and ratings. So let's move on to birthdays. I know you had a bunch of these last week. We only have a few this week.
Thank
The
goodness.
first is the birthday of Jim Broadbent, who played the 11th Doctor in Curse of Fatal Death. The
Oh.
I'm not quite comfortable around girls, Doctor.
Yeah.
He turned 70. Next is Graham Williams, who was basically the showrunner from 1977 to 1980, just before John Nathan Turner took over. He would have been 74, but died in 1990 at the age of 45.
Williams, we would have wanted you back.
Next was the 25th of May, and the birthday of Sir Ian McKellen, the voice of the Great Intelligence in The Snowmen from 2012, amongst many other famous roles.
Yeah, I kept seeing his name pop up on the list, and I was like, "Oh, you're so close, but you're so far away."
He's
Yes.
I mean, he's well known as everything. He's freaking Gandalf. He's freaking Magneto. I mean, what else do you need?
He created the greatest advice on the greatest video on acting advice of all time.
He turned 80 today. So he was a good 10 years younger than Christopher Lee.
Actually, I think it was
Also-
more than that, but yeah.
And one day later is the birthday of Peter Cushing,
Speaking of
who,
Lee.
of course, was the Doctor in the 60s movies,
Also has many credits to his name.
Yes.
including Grand Moff Tarkin and Abraham Van Helsing. He
And
would have
Sherlock
been
Holmes.
He would have been 106, but he died in 1994 at 81. That was a sad day.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, today, on the 29th of May, is the birthday of Pearl Mackie, who played Bill Potts back in 2017. She turned 32. And trust me, compared to a few of the actors we have in today's Doctor Who, we kind of want Pearl Mackie back.
I'm not sure about the
Not-
actors, but I think we want the writing that she got back.
Well, it's more along the lines of, at least they did something. I mean, it's been the two male characters have gotten all the stuff, and
yeah, they've written the third companion so poorly.
Yeah, it seems when they give her stuff to do, she's pretty good. As stuff to do, she's pretty good. But they don't give her much to do, to the point where I always need to stop and remember her name.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember her name.
What was it again? Oh, yes, that's right.
Yep.
Oh dear.
It's one of those things where you just kind of have to hope that because Series 11 focused on the other two so much, that Series 12 does
Maybe 12 will
opposite.
focus.
Meanwhile, the marketing team tried to treat her as the main companion.
Yeah, which was a
Yeah.
bad idea because she wasn't.
Nope.
Mm.
Of the three companions from Series 11, who would you consider to be the main companion?
Oh,
Ah.
I would almost
Maybe
say Ryan.
Graham?
Yeah.
Yeah, was it Graham?
Yeah.
Mm.
I
To me,
said
it
Ryan.
felt like it's Graham just because Graham had like the most
See,
development.
To me,
of the
Graham
three.
felt like Ryan's companion,
Yeah.
and Ryan was the Doctor's companion.
At the same time, Ryan was kind of the Mickey.
He had touches of the Mickey. He wasn't full on Mickey though. Thank goodness.
No, I know, but he would fall into that role of he would be the one to do something stupid.
See, but it's I think of Graham as like the Nardole. He was like he did less. I mean, maybe if I go back and look at it, but at least it felt to me like he was doing more of the comic relief stuff and less of the companion stuff. That might have been a bias. I'd have to go back and watch it again to see if it actually holds up.
I mean, I remember us noticing that he also seemed to get dialogue that seems like would have normally been given to the Doctor, to like have these kind of heart-to-heart conversations with like Yaz and Ryan that normally the Doctor would get.
That's kind of true too. Once in a while, I think.
Yeah,
It's weird.
but then he also
it's one
had
of
that
those
whole
two.
thing. He also had the whole thing with his dead wife, which was
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
definitely was not comic related.
And some of that stuff made him feel a lot like the older, not quite companion character, your Nardole, your Jack, your kind of River, even though timey-wimey, your Harry sort of character in some ways.
All right. Well, enough on this because we don't have a lot of that. Anyway, Pearl Mackie turned 32.
Yep.
So happy birthday, Jim, Graham, Ian, Peter, and Pearl. From there, we go on.
Matt tried to follow your example and list off all the birthdays at the end last week. It was challenging.
It was a very strange long list.
Well, there you try to find a song to do it to, all of the Animaniacs.
I'm sorry, but I can't just do Bohemian Rhapsody off the top of my head like that with names.
So unfortunately, we do move on to our Lost Stories segment. An Unearthly Podcast regrets to announce the passing of Stephen Thorne, an influential actor of Doctor Who in the 1970s during both the third and fourth Doctor era. He portrayed the evil Azazel in The Daemons, the Mad Time Lord Omega in The Three Doctors, and finally the male form of Eldred in The Hand of Fear. Thorne was born in 1935 in London. He was trained at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art and spent time at both the Old Vic and the Royal Shakespeare Company. When he moved to television, he appeared in Z-Cars, Crossroads, Sexton Blake, David Copperfield, and The Last of the Summer Wine. He also worked in radio productions, including Aslan in The Magician's Nephew, Treebeard in The Lord of the Rings, and Colin in Terry Pratchett's Guards. In later years, Thorne would work for audiobooks, including Big Finish Productions, where he reprised both Omega and Eldred. He recorded over 300 unabridged audiobooks, including children's stories, and often gave readings in places such as Westminster Abbey. His awards included a Talkies Award 1996 for Enigma by Robert Harris, and several Golden Earphones Awards from Audiophile magazine. His personal friend, Lisa Bowerman, broke news of his death on Sunday, May 26, over Twitter. He was 84.
So that's kind of a blow to both Big Finish and Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially Omega. Was a big influential figure. And
a crucial character in the history of the show.
Yep. And, every now and then I still see, for New Who, people like, bring back Omega, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Too late now. At least they'll bring back the original.
I'm not sure they'd do it without the original voice.
I mean, did they have somebody else play him in? Was it
Arc of Infinity?
There we go. I couldn't remember the word infinity. I was like the Arc of something. Yeah.
Let me check. Let's see. For Serial of the 20th season. Yes, they did. They had Ian Collier play him. And I don't think it came off as well.
No, that wasn't as well received.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That actor is also not around anymore.
Yeah, he died in 2008.
No, but it opens the door to future recasting.
Sure, yeah.
Especially for an incorporeal character.
Just a matter of finding someone with the same intensity and pitch.
Yeah.
He will be portrayed by a suit of armor and voiced by Nicholas Briggs using voice alteration.
No. We don't want Nick Briggs.
I agree with you, but it worked for the joke.
Yes, I know.
But
you know who would be great for him? Brian Blessed.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
Too bad he wasn't Scottish and that Peter Capaldi's already been the Doctor, because I would say Peter Capaldi would be great for that role, but he would be too Scottish. I don't know. Maybe he can do accents. I've never heard him try.
David Tennant in a surprising reversal role. He'll voice anything these days.
Uh,
And he can do evil. It would just be more psychotic evil.
I mean, it would be funny if they outright just got Peter Davison, considering like Omega does technically turn into him briefly, even though
That's right,
it's
he
still
did
someone
at
else's
that one
voice.
point,
That'd be
didn't he?
kind of funny. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm in favor of Brian Blessed as Omega. Hadn't crossed my mind, but definitely works.
Oh God, he
He's
would
got
be
the bombastic in spades,
He would
so.
be so over the top. It'd be great.
Hmm.
uh,
No, I have you, Doctor! No indoor voice! Handle that on your earphones!
I will say I didn't know that this actor had previously played Aslan or Treebeard, but it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. You hear it, you go, oh yeah.
Oh, so was he the BBC Aslan, or was he
It was for some audio.
For radio.
for an
Yeah.
audio? Okay.
Might have specifically been BBC Radio or something.
Yeah,
'cause
might
they've
have been.
done stuff like that before.
Gonna say, because I have to still sit through all of them yet, but it's been a long time since I watched the BBC versions again. Anyway, I guess it's time to move on.
Yeah, good idea.
So, Dradoon news.
Yes.
Okay, the Jadoon and TARDIS crew were seen throughout Gloucester, or Gloucester, or however the hell you want to pronounce it, on the 22nd and 23rd. In particular, Gloucester Cathedral was the principal location. Jadoon was seen in various areas around and about the cathedral, and many people got pics and videos. In addition, Jodie Whittaker hung around and took the time to get pictures with the fans.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. Gloucester is not that far from Cardiff. It's you basically go from Cardiff to Bristol, which is, basically across the bay. And then you basically head northeast to Gloucester. So that would be why they would film there, because it's close enough to headquarters.
Close enough to home that they can easily just go, hey, we want this location.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get that for a few hours? Thanks.
But yeah, if you notice the article, there's a lot of pics of them doing filming. Some of them, they have some unhelmeted Jadoon in front of the cathedral for setup, and then they later show them with the helmets on, and of course the rhino head. Some people that were apparently interrogated by the Jadoon.
Yep.
So this is a just an interesting little thing. There's a whole bunch of video there too.
Yeah, there seems to be a little bit of video here and there when you look close.
And a child with a Dalek plushie.
Wow.
That's something I want to take to bed and
No,
cuddle with
I
me.
was just watching the video near the bottom that shows the Jadoon and the two metal guys. Play that one and watch how well the Jadoon mask actually speaks.
Oh, you mean the one where they're in front of the black screen?
Yes.
Seeing if it'll load.
Oh, wow. Damn.
Let me refresh. I tried to play it and
And
it
the
just
wrong
went,
link.
and
That
I
might
don't
be
want to do
on the
anything.
It's the
Yeah,
one posted by Simon Watkins.
Oh, wrong
Yeah.
link. Okay.
Play, and it's doing it again.
And you said at the bottom?
Yeah, there's it's also near the top too. They did it twice. But
they
yeah,
showed the
it's
top one.
it's rather impressive, the Jadoon prosthetics this time around.
Every time I try playing, it just locks up.
Well,
It
that's
just gives me a
apparently
white screen and won't do anything.
Mm.
Yeah, that's actually like. Yeah, they actually had some for some. Wow, BBC actually gave them money
Yeah.
for a change.
Well, it's been 12 years since the Jadoon prosthetics was originally made. So I bet they had to remake them.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and I
And
went
they-
to Twitter and still
Especially
not
since
playing.
they weren't used for, almost a decade.
They were used a little bit in Sarah Jane Adventures,
Okay.
but they
Yeah.
just reused the 2007 prosthetics.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, sure. I'm playing this on the one browser that just refuses to play these clips.
what are you playing? What are you playing it on?
This is on Firefox, apparently.
Oh yeah. I'm doing on Chrome.
Apparently, Firefox just does not agree with this particular video format. I don't know why. That's kind of a thing you would think would be updated
And
properly.
it's YouTube, so yeah, that's weird.
Anyway, I'd
It's-
say
Is it YouTube? Because it's on Twitter, and
All the
that's what's
videos I'm
affecting it.
seeing say YouTube. Unless there's a video I'm just not seeing.
it could just be the X coming from Y.
Whatever, it's not working anyways.
Anyway, the second link shows a whole bunch of Jodie Whittaker on set, and she basically just hung out with the fans when she wasn't busy.
Hmm.
We're basically keeping the tradition going.
Yep.
Because I can remember us having reported like Peter
Capaldi.
Capaldi hanging out with fans.
It's part of the job, really.
Mm.
I mean, when you're on set and you're in that costume, you're the doctor. You have to
Yeah.
be.
Mm.
That is your job, is being the doctor.
You shall get along very well with children.
So, it's got her there in front of a guy that's apparently worse off than I am. Although I have to take a look at that. Does his... Yes. That actually says Stark Industries. He may have partial life support, considering he's got an oxygen breather in his nose, and might actually be using that to do motion. But he's still letting his geek flag fly. I've got to give that props.
Yeah.
And then you see her hanging out there with a whole bunch of people. Looks like some school kids and a family, and there's a little kid with a little stuffed Dalek. It's just awesome to sometimes see the photos like that. And
Yeah.
anyway,
Especially in the case with how much annoying, silly backlash there was to Jodie, to see that this is like so many people are just like, no, she's the doctor, and
yeah, there's still the backlash people up there, but you hear from them less and less.
yeah.
A lot of people have instead gone to attack Chibnall's writing, which I agree with.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think any issues with the show are to do with the actors. It's definitely to do with the writing, if anything. Hopefully next season will be a little bit better.
I'm hoping. The fact that they're bringing back the Jadoon, I think, is a definite right move.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they're treated right.
Yes, as long as we're not doing
Yeah.
some crazy bullshit with them.
As long as they're not turning into the villain of the week, trying to blow up the Earth.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, as long as you're not making them into Santarans, please don't. I know they look like Santarans, but they are not Santarans.
Yep. They're interstellar policemen who take their job a bit too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And once in a while, they need a slap on the wrist, but that's usually all they need.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So that's what I want to see. Anyway, moving on. The only other piece of news we've got is Big Finish.
Good old Big Finish. We got some coming soon. Due in November, two stories lost to the production delays will see the light of day in audio form, one from the 5th Doctor era and one from the 6th. In Nightmare Country, the Doctor wakes up on a planet of relics, a dead world, a hostile world. He has no memory of who he is or how he got to be here. He'd better remember soon, because the very structure of reality is at risk, and it all has something to do with that strange blue tomb with the light on top. In The Ultimate Evil, the Doctor and Perry's holiday plans go awry when they cross paths with the slimy super salesman Mordant and his scheme to start a war. Out for a release this November, the month that Doctor Who was first broadcast back in 1963, these two lost stories are available for pre-order now at £14.99 on CD or £12.99 on download each.
God, it's almost as if Big Finish knew we were covering Human Nature, Family, Blood with that Nightmare Country summary.
That is a bit close to it, yeah.
A bit, but not quite.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a case of amnesia.
Yeah. I was just thinking, that's kind of fitting.
All right, so that's all the news we've got. Next up would be the review of Shame. Shame.
Oh, okay. Well, the episode was Tooth and Claw, and I'm ashamed to say I liked this episode. Well, I'm not ashamed to say that, because I did like this episode. Well, here's what I liked about it. The attitudes of the Doctor and Rose towards this adventure helped make it an especially fun one. They were appropriately focused and serious-minded when the situation truly called for it, and at the same time, it was great that they both got an infectious excitement for the sheer novelty of the situation.
Shame.
This served as a good counterpoint to the, quote, Victorian sensibilities of the Queen. What I did not like. The bet with the Doctor to get the Queen to say, "We are not amused." This might have worked, but Rose's attempts to win said bet were incredibly awkward, forced, and heavy-handed.
Agreed.
Yes.
My favorite scene, I got a real kick out of the Kung Fu monks. Get it? Kick?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Least favorite scene, being that I thought all of the other scenes were better, was when Rose tried to speak with a Scottish accent and the Doctor just said, "Don't do that." I agree with the Doctor.
I have quoted that scene so many times.
You are out in the boot.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like somebody will try to do an accent in this, and I'm just like, no, don't do that.
Please don't.
Just don't.
My final thoughts on this romp of an episode. It seems like it was made to combine disparate elements seamlessly. It was a great combination of an historical story with a science fiction story, and the elements of mystery and horror were perfectly balanced with comedy. It takes itself seriously, but not so seriously that it's not a mess of fun. My score, I give this 5 stars.
All right. So
5.
that takes the average for this up to a 4.8. A 4.8 flat, actually, because the only detractors are Bill and Thomas.
Oh, Bill and Thomas, so we know where you live.
Detractors for the 4.5.
We don't know where you live.
Yeah, at least this isn't somebody going, "I'll give it a 0."
And as I was discussing with Rand earlier, that's because my 4.5 was basically a 4.7, and you have to round to the nearest half.
I still can't say why that werewolf wouldn't have given you the extra half point to go up. God, that was the greatest werewolf.
Some of the stills aren't great, but when the werewolf is actually moving properly in image, oh my god, that thing was amazing.
And they did that close-up of the face at one point, and you could see...
You just see snarl and the candles flicker,
Yeah.
and every single hair on it, you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
Someone
And as a
went
joke-
to do that thing with a comb.
And as a joke last week, when you see the preview for School Reunion after the episode, it's like, so Tooth and Claw is where all the CG budget went.
Yep.
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 Well, that's kind of how I feel about Rose and End of the World. I look at Rose and their CG and I go, eh. And then I'm like, I watch End of the World, it's like, oh, this is where all the money went.
That's where the budget went.
Sort of like, in a way, Series 11 sort of had that with, the Pating. The Pating was like, oh my god, this is like movie level CG. And then the rest, some of the CG and other stuff was like,
Well, with
Someone
season 1, I
probably
think most of the
will.
CG budget went to Daleks.
Well, remember, the CG budget is split up per filming blocks.
Ah,
So the filming block definitely focused on the Daleks.
got you, yeah.
But,
Yeah.
it's like the filming blocks were like episode 1 and 2.
Mhm.
Well, guess which one took the monster of the budget there?
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. So that's his review for that.
Yep, next up is Geek Talk, where it looks like we got some video games.
Just got some video games, and that would be me if we're going to the video games. So I recently, for streaming, have finished playing all the way through Doom 3.
Wow, you did better than me. I never got more than halfway through it.
Oh god, no, I beat it in 17 hours.
Mm.
I can time it because I usually only stream an hour at a time.
I remember that was the creepy one.
Yes, that's what I want to get into. I'm not going to spoil the plot. There's not a whole lot of plot, but there is some here. The big change between Doom 1 and 2 and Doom 3 is that Doom 3 is less of a big exploring level and more of a we're slowly winding you down these hallways in a specific order, and we're going to set up shit in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And once in a while, we'll even surprise you with something from trailing from behind, just to spook you.
Yeah, it was Doom, the jump scare edition.
Yes, and they were properly done jump scares. It's not like a jump scare, oh, that's stupid. But no, it's usually we got a quiet couple tension moments, and god damn it, they literally jumped in my face.
So it wasn't one of those where you can predict when the jump scares are about to happen.
But the only time I could for sure was when I came up to a door and went, oh, you're going to be on the other side of that door. Machine gun ready. Yep, there he is. Bloody imps. All of the bloody imps. By the way, yeah, that game really loved showing imps. And yeah, you couldn't always predict jump scares because not only could they wait behind doors, they had false walls, and they also had teleporters.
Yeah.
So any random event could accidentally suddenly summon up another big nasty for you to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
And for that, I'll give them credit where they catch you on your toes frequently, and they did it very well, and usually pretty even keeled until I want to say the last act. The last act started having like a lot of death traps. In which case, I'm just like, well, I have the easy way around this. Save more frequently. Also, with finishing the game, I also did the first DLC, which is the only direct sequel to 3, as far as I'm aware. And they don't have you playing the same Doom Marine, which you have been for the last 3 games. You're playing a new guy, and it's essentially a follow-up to the protagonist from Doom 3. That's basically the only thing it really covers, plot-wise. With that said, I would prefer the original Doom, although if there's one thing I will say about Resurrection of Evil like DLC, is that they give you the double barrel shotgun, and I love that thing. They give you a physics gun, and the physics gun is really It sometimes works, and sometimes it really doesn't. There's a lot of problems with it. But the double barrel shotgun and a couple other things in that one really made it up for me. Because if you get a really good shot close up to a lot of enemies, that double barrel shotgun will one-hit a lot of guys. And it just made it a lot more fun than the last half or so of that particular game. It's just like, oh, Yes, thank you. Um, Also, the artifact that starts off Resurrection of Evil was really interesting too, because it allowed you to slow down time, so you could actually do the shotgun stuff a lot better, as well as a few other things. The main reason they gave you that artifact is because I think the last 2 or 3 bosses needed you to slow things down so you could be more effective with them. But that's about it. I relatively enjoyed them a lot. There was definitely good sequences, and the villains were pretty decently done, and I also love the fact that both games, both the regular game and the expansion, gave you new monsters as well as reprising a lot of the old ones. It was nice to see that they added a few more of the DLC. And for now, after Doom 3, Doom's going to be taking a rest until I get voted back into playing Doom 4, or Doom Remake, as people are kind of dubbing it, even though it's still the fourth one. I still need to figure out how they get him to where he starts in Doom 4, but that's another story.
Doom 3 was kind of a reboot in a way, wasn't it?
It's 3 and 4 are really weird because they're pseudo reboots and pseudo continuations, because they obviously know you are the Doom guy, and they do admit that the previous games did happen still.
Wasn't one of them a prequel?
No.
No? Oh. Thought I heard one was a prequel. I guess not.
The main ones, no. Again, the way the stories are hooked up together is really kind of awkward in spots, especially with Doom 3. But if you look at all the evidence around you, it's obvious that Doom 1 and 2 did happen, because literally your character's face is on magazines in Doom 3. Because you're the guy who survived. But yeah, other than that, it's I have to do my research and figure out how things all mesh together properly. But for the most part, Doom 3 was a really good romp. Lasted 17 hours. That's least I can expect from a decent shooter. That's going to be very linear. And that's not a problem if they're doing it right and they don't overstay their welcome. Oh, also, I enjoyed in the end of the base Doom 3 that there's a secret door that leads you to the PDA with a list of emails from the game developers thanking you for playing the game. I'm just like, that's an ID logo. Pop. Oh, shit, a secret room. That was fun. So that's about it for Doom 3. Good romp. And we have someone else after me, I believe. We had, yes, Thomas.
Yep. It was either yesterday or Tuesday. I'm actually kind of blanking exactly when. Actually, yeah, it probably would have been Tuesday. I decided to play What Remains of Edith Finch for the first time, because it was as far as I know, it's still being offered. It is like one of the free PS Plus games for the month. On PS4. So I remember hearing good things about it, so I went, fuck it, downloaded it like probably near the start of the month, and then just haven't touched it until a couple of days ago when I found out that it was like extremely short. So I went, you know what, I want to get a game off my to-do list. This will be quick. Cool.
So is it like the park short?
It does look to be like a walking story thing.
Yeah, it's an exploration game.
Because the park was only about 45 minutes all put together.
Between 45 and maybe an hour and a half, yeah.
I'll put it this way: when I finally got a trophy from getting that first one to getting all of them, took me an hour 20 minutes.
So it's a bit longer. So it's probably more like a Telltale game.
To a point, probably, yeah. But it took. I mean, my total actual playtime was probably longer just because I took breaks. But from what I can remember, the estimate said it'll be like you can knock this out in 3 hours if you're trying to do absolutely everything and taking your time.
And like I was sort of doing that, but not really. And I'd say it took me about two and a half, maybe at a stretch. But honestly, it was mainly just because, my God, this game is kind of depressing. Like, without, it's so funny because I don't even want to give like even a summary is like I have to be as vague as I can because it's just like basically the game is learning about the person doing the narration for the whole thing's tragic family history. Basically, that's like the that's like as much as I want to say because if I go into any more of it, it's like yeah, that's when it gets spoilery. But it's of course it's funny because I think at first I was like, oh god, is this going to turn out to actually be like a horror game where I have to escape someone in this house? No. But it's like there's some very interesting things going on and mechanics in that because like there are bits where it is just walk around the house and look at things, but there are other things where you're yeah, like the mechanics change for certain parts of the game to where it's not just like I think the comparison I saw of people being like, well, it's not like this is like that Dear Esther thing where like it's literally just you walking around as narration's happening and you're not really doing anything, and this you're actually like actively doing stuff.
It's a bit more
So
like Myst then.
I guess, yeah.
Might be a more apt thing. Myst was like the first like point and click first person adventure out there.
But yeah, like it's actually kind of interesting because yeah, like very few video games make me cry even once if they're going for emotional shit. This game made me cry 3 different times. Like one was just an innocuous detail that related to something earlier, and that kind of hit me and was like, ah, damn it. The second thing was just a very depressing thing that you realize, oh, that happened, and that like I took like 10, 15 minutes to just just like I'm just gonna
Go
stop
regather
playing
yourself.
for a sec and like yeah and like let this out and then keep going because that's mainly what took me so long because otherwise I probably could have powered through it quicker. And then like something later on in the game just made me go, oh shit. It's like one of these things that you should I would say most people could probably see coming, but I was just that invested after a while in what was going on that like it didn't occur to me. That's like,
You were too
okay,
involved. You didn't try to look at it at full scope.
yeah. But yeah, like honestly, if you have a PS4, I mean, like I honestly would buy this on like PC or something just to like give these people money because I got it for free through PS Plus. But you know, if you don't have the money and you do have a PS4, I would just download this as quickly as possible while you still can for free. But you know, if you've got money to spare, I'm assuming it would be very cheap. I would say it's worth looking into, just so long as you don't have like crippling depression or tragic family stuff doesn't hit you really hard or something like that. Because this is definitely one of those things where I'm like, I don't know. Like, this is one of those things where you would probably have to know people to be able to be like, know whether you would absolutely recommend it or not. But I would definitely say that people should at least try to play it, and then if it like starts to affect you too much, then just like stop. But yeah, like damn, here I was thinking, oh, this will be easy. I can get through this game in like 2 hours or so, and then it's like, holy shit, like god damn. Like yeah, I'll give them credit. Any game that can make me get that kind of an well anything really but any like game because it's so rare for me to get emotion like that from a game. If that's able to do that, then I give that pretty high marks. So yeah, I would. So long as the depressing nature of it doesn't turn you off, I'd say give it a shot.
No, ready?
I don't know if it's for me then. I mean,
Yeah,
Final
I was gonna
Fantasy
say.
Final Fantasy 15 gets me emotional.
I should also add actually really quick on Doom 3. I played the BFG edition. BFG edition also comes with the original versions of 1 and 2, as well as a glossied up, shinied up version of 3, with a second DLC, which is unnecessary. It's literally lost levels that they tied together with a very loose plot and added a third Marine to play through. Oh,
All
yeah.
right. Well, I think that takes us up to our episode summary.
Stopwatch is ready. So actually, who's supposed to go today? We had Bill last time, and he was the most furthest behind on the list.
Let's see. We've all done it once.
It looks like if we just go by who's been the longest, it would be Matt.
So me then?
Yeah.
If you're ready for it.
Want me to get the stopwatch going?
Sure, get the stopwatch going. I'm having to think I'm going to abbreviate this really quickly. Okay.
You know, one of these days I should just put this right in the AUP shortcuts. Oh, it is in the AUP shortcuts. What the fuck am I thinking? Okay. Okay, I'm ready to go.
All right. I guess start. Give me a start then.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. We start off with the Doctor and Martha as they suddenly come into the TARDIS, apparently having visited an alien planet, but they're being shot at. Apparently, as they're traveling through time, the creatures that shot at them are also still following them, also through time with their own device, possibly strapped to their own ship. The Doctor decides that since their faces hadn't been seen, at least not clearly, they can at least try to hide, but that means he has to hide what he is because they can smell Time Lord. To this, the Doctor starts to make a plan, but before he can officially elaborate on the plan, he suddenly wakes up. And he's not actually the Doctor. He's a man known only as John Smith. He is a teacher at a school in 1913, and he's a newly acquired teacher at the particular school at this point, and he is possibly going to be moving on in a few months. He has a particular fondness for the school nurse. He does take a shine to the boys, at least as a teacher, and does realize one of the younger students seems to be holding back, and he's not entirely sure why. And he has a handmaid named Martha who has been with him for a very long time, and more or less left with her to go to the school. She helps out with the other maids and so forth, scrubbing floors, bringing food to teachers, etc., like the others do. But there seems to be something a bit strange going on still. John Smith himself seems to be having these strange dreams about this man named the Doctor, and his wild adventures, his constant risk-taking, his travels inside of a big blue box, and once in a while he happens to have knowledge of this weird watch thing, which looks exactly like the watch the Doctor gave to Martha before he suddenly woke up from his dream. Shrugging and letting that go aside, he continues life as normal. He proves to be above average man with odd qualities, such as the moment when he saved a baby from being crushed by a piano by throwing a cricket ball, and stopping said mother before she got too close to the piano, and the accident would have happened. He asks the nurse out to the dance. Meanwhile, at the same time this is all going on, Martha is actually visiting the TARDIS and is trying to figure out what she should do because she's not entirely sure if they're still being followed or not. She's not sure if the Doctor should be allowed to continue on trying to pretend to be human or not. and she just has a complete and total long list of questions and is constantly consorting to a video of the doctor himself about what to do about certain things. While this is happening, the ship comes down one evening and immediately abducts one of the older students. He becomes son of mine, and he continues to order around a group of animated scarecrows who then capture other humans for them and give bodies to father of mine, mother of mine, and daughter of mine. These are apparently the aliens that were chasing after the Dr. Martha and want the powers of a Time Lord so they become immortal and can continue to grow their own kind without dying. They managed to find out through random happenstance that the Doctor is the Time Lord they're looking for, but that he is no longer a Time Lord and they need to find his essence, which has been sealed away in what essentially looks like a fog watch with Gallifreyan writing. They managed to find the boy amidst a fight who is holding onto the fog watch, but he uses it to open it occasionally and lure them away in different places before making his own escape as well. There's a shootout at one point at the school where they knock down all of the scarecrow men, but they are not really alive, and they are forced to flee again when the headmaster is also shot down by one of the aliens pretending to be a little girl. They manage to avoid the aliens, but the aliens decide to draw them out by first of all capturing the TARDIS, and second of all starting to bomb the local area in hopes that they will finally come out and stop the bombardments. The fog watch is finally given to the John Smith, and he starts to have little lapses of understanding of what the Doctor is, but also constantly fears for his life because he's going to essentially die in order to let this man come out, even though this man is the only one who can now save the rest of the planet and stop these aliens. He finally sacrifices himself. John Smith seemingly comes onto the ship and starts accidentally hitting switches in the alien ship, but he then reveals his hand that he is actually the Doctor and hit a whole bunch of switches that was rechanneling the energy inside the ship to the main central area, which then caused the ship to explode. The Doctor then finally takes it upon himself to deal with these aliens as they continue to be a threat and gives them the immortality they want, although not in the way they want it. And finally ends with him coming back, saying his goodbyes to the nurse and joining Martha and going off in the TARDIS, to which we have a few other moments with the young boy who was protecting the fog watch, including a modern-day close-up with him as he remembers fondly how the fog watch and the Doctor saved his life as a young man in 1914. And that is it. I'm about 6 minutes. This was a two-parter, so...
Yeah, 5 minutes, 58 seconds, and change. So, yeah. Almost 6 minutes. Okay. So, ooh, I forgot to do this because I'm a bad boy. I'm
Gotta
a
roll.
naughty boy. Yes.
I'm a naughty
Naughty.
boy. Naughty.
Naughty, yes. How many of us are here tonight?
It's a whole party. That's 5 of us.
Five.
Alright, so that means 4 plus me. Alright, let's see who's first. Roll a d4. Number 3 would be Thomas.
Oh.
Thomas, you first.
Thomas, you're first. What did you like about the episode overall?
Oh,
And while you're doing that, I'm going to roll everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. This is one of those ones where I'm like, given that we're all here, do I really want to steal the obvious one or not? But well, fuck it. I'm just gonna go for it anyway. David Tennant's acting as John Smith, pretty much, just because it's like he could have, they could have gone like so many different ways with it, but making him actually someone, or even like
as I've seen it worded before, which is probably at least is the best way I can think to word it is by just pinching this. That someone said that like he's a good man for the time period he's in. Like he's not. They don't have him being played as this ahead of his time. Kind of person who has modern, like our, like good people values, whatever. Like he still kind of treats Martha like shit. And he has generally he has values from then that actually make it like, well, if you want to get away with the Doctor doing all of this stuff, this is the perfect excuse to do it. Like the closest we get is the fact that he won't shoot the scarecrows like in Family of Blood, but other than that, just and like even like there's a specific thing that I would mention, but I feel like that'll probably come up in the scenes.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just
Your original point was the acting, but then you went into his values, which is definitely not the acting.
I guess just like the portrayal of John Smith as good man for the time period he's in. Like when they could have just gone with like
essentially the accuracy of his character there.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So Tim, you're next.
I really enjoyed the romance between John Smith and Joan. I think this was one of the better contained romances in a science fiction series I've seen. Seen that they had to fit in like two people believably falling in love with each other over the course of like only like 40 minutes and then having it fall apart in the next 40. The interaction between David Tennant and the actress who played, let me look it up, Jessica Hines, and was quite lovely, I think.
Yeah, and honestly, it has more tragedy to it than like even friggin' Rose and the Doctor, because it's like, this is at least something where it's like, the guy she fell in love with is just gone.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, with Rose and the Doctor, where it's just like people can like it, but it's just this is like, why couldn't we have just had this and not had the Rose stuff?
My reaction to the particularly the first half is, this is so bumbling and awkward. It must be love.
All right.
To quote Mr.
Matt,
Sides Theater.
What did you like about it overall?
What did I like overall? I'm a visual person. I absolutely adore the visuals in this particular episode. From the invisible spaceship, which becomes slightly visible when you touch it with the green ripple effects, to the costuming which they did with the scarecrows, which was effective, although a bit odd, because why would scarecrows in a particular area all look exactly like that? To the we've seen explosions and bombardments from far away in Doctor Who before, and this is probably one of the best ones they ever did. They looked actually like legit explosions going off in the distance, whereas they seem to have a hard time of that lately. Just a lot of really good little visual pieces that help make this particular episode for me.
All right. Bill, how about you?
So I'm going to go with how how John Smith's memories of the Doctor kind of seep into it, and that's a combination of, well, kind of a combination of everything: the writing, the acting, the set, the prop making, and everything else. The way he's like I believe he was drawing in the margins. Correct me if I'm wildly mischaracterizing that because it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing there. And it's
Not so much the margins, but he is doodling in that book. Yeah,
right. And it's all of his memories, and he doesn't know what it is, but these were his weird dreams that he's talking about, and I liked that aspect of it.
Okay. I think I'm gonna have to go with the acting overall. David Tennant's acting was unbelievably good because he could switch between the Doctor and John Smith just like flipping a switch, and that was good. Martha did good for what she was given, which was basically, hey, look, I'm a black servant in the 19 teens. There was some racial, some racially charged comments, but not as many as you would think. But they probably did have to keep it censored for television.
They probably did keep it tame just so they didn't go overboard. Yeah.
And there was I thought most of the bit actors did good. Even Baines, who was a asshole prick, and then when he got turned into Son of Mine, he's just psychotic.
Psychotic and somewhat creepy, depending upon what angles he's looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just get this inner intensity that just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That manicness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was definitely one where I'm like, in hindsight, yeah, I can see why this guy ended up going on to play Viserys Targaryen in Game of Thrones.
Really? That's who that is?
Yep.
Yeah, didn't know that.
Could you spell that name out for me so I can get an image of that?
Yeah, that's one of those weird.
I'll also look up Family of Blood just see if I can find him more quickly that way.
The actor's name is Harry Lloyd, if that helps.
Will help when I get to IMDb.
All right.
Um.
So, what did we dislike about the episode? Thomas, you are first.
God, this is one of those ones where it's like so hard that I'm really just gonna have to go with the only nitpick I can actually think of, which is the fact that we don't see like anything involving the characters that become daughter of mine, sister of mine, and father/husband of mine.
We see
because like
father a bit before it happens, but daughter comes out of nowhere. Yeah, he's the one that marches up to the Scarecrow and is like, "Get off my property."
Oh no! That's what I mean. Like we see them just as they're about to be taken, but we don't see them at all before that. So
yeah.
I'm not saying I can see why they wouldn't have given them like more prominent stuff because like this could go on forever.
They're just victims, yeah.
But yeah, like it would have been nice
slasher knockoffs.
Yeah, like it would have just been nice to have them at least like a scene before. Hell, you could have even like you could have made the father of mine be like another teacher at the school. Or something like that. Or like a parent of one of the boys going to that school.
Oh, by the way, I know very little about Game of Thrones, but I just found the guy's picture. I'm like, oh, that asshole. Okay, yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about now. Yeah, he's a perfect match for that role.
Yeah, didn't it? Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Tim, how about you? What did you dislike about the episode overall, or serial? I guess
the serial.
The two-parter.
Two-part serial. There's not a lot in general to dislike, but if I had to go with thing. I think Tim's, who I love the name, being drawn to the watch, could have been like saying, like that whole setup where the doctor tells Martha in the recording, "Don't open the watch unless you have to." Cut to Tim opening the watch, and it's like, okay, it's like you'd think that in my mind a young British person in this day and in the day and age that this takes place would know better than to poke at funny watches or like let sleeping dogs lie, so to speak. But no, it's like the plot says this watch needs to be open now, so I guess I have to do what the plot says,
Well, the thing is, it's supposed to be that he's basically being psychically compelled to. It establishes early on that he has some kind of psychic power because he can read the thoughts of Barnes's letter before Barnes has read it. He gets, he's talking about a job his father has, and he suddenly goes, yeah, well, he'll like Johannesburg, and it's like, how did you know that? I haven't read it, because he basically read it out of his mind. And because of that, that's why he develops this connection to the watch. And it basically is telling him what to do. For most of it. A few times it's like, give me to John Smith, and it's like, he's scared to because of what he sees the doctor being like. But for, the bits where he's opening the watch and stuff, it's like, you need to do this now. Distraction, And that's why he picked it up in the first place, is he could hear it. All right, Matt, how about you? What you disliked about the story?
What I disliked. Again, I mentioned them again because I like their visual reference of them. But seriously, who the hell made these creepy-ass fucking scarecrows and made them all exactly the same? This is something
really
from...
hung up on them all looking the same, huh?
Yeah, they all look exactly the same. They all look like they're out of like some sort of slasher horror movie, like Jeepers Creepers or something. And it's like, how did you manage that? Why would they be in that many numbers?
There's probably some old guy on the end of the village that made scarecrows from people and just used all the same material.
Well, supposedly it's supposed to be the guy who becomes father of mine.
Might be.
But how did he have so many of them, and how? Because they all had to look more or less the same, because he walked to the scarecrow like it was nothing. Like it was nothing new.
I mean,
at least
it
in
could
appearance.
just be that it was like, it could just be that it was the one, and then they used like...
Oh, that they just kept copying the really creepy looking one for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Maybe. That could explain it, but again, they don't really say that in the plot though either. So
he did refer to them as his creation, the Bane, son of mine.
Well, animating them was his creation, yeah. And then he used the ones that he made to capture the guy to become father of mine. So.
All right, Bill.
So I'm going to say that Martha's role in this episode is kind of annoying, particularly the fact that, as far as I know, the TARDIS wasn't broken or anything. The doctor basically chose, okay, Martha, you're my companion. Now you're going to be a servant until the bad guys catch up with us or until you die, whichever one comes first. And it's just weird, and
Martha gets kind of the shit jobs in this.
Yeah, she really does.
She really did get a lot of the bad luck.
It's like in the finale, obviously that's not something the doctor had much control over. He did the best he could. In this, it seems like the doctor could have done something to make her life not suck.
But
well, he had to hide, yeah.
And then the very next episode is Blink, and they get sent back in time, and she winds up working on a shop to pay for what the doctor's trying to do to communicate with these people.
Right. She basically is his servant.
Yeah. She's
For a couple
basically
episodes.
his bitch is basically what it's like.
Yeah.
I have to take a look at the previous episodes and see if there was any other cases of that.
Not
I mean,
if I can recall.
Donna doing that is one thing because she's a temp. That's pretty much her nature. But yeah, Martha's a freaking med graduate. She's
Right.
She should be better than this, and no, she gets to be all the shit jobs. All right. So, I'm gonna have to pass on what I dislike about this.
Kind of covered everything.
Yeah, anything that I could have thought of, we covered because there isn't really much to dislike.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Favorite scene, Thomas.
Oh, God, this is another hard one.
I've got about 3, so
Yeah.
you all choose them. I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah. Yeah, screw it. I'm just gonna go with John Smith wrestling with the decision of changing back to the Doctor or not. Just because it almost, to a point, it feels like the way Tennant is playing it is as if the Doctor himself is like, fuck it, I just want to actually live this life. Like, I'm kind of just so done with this shit. Like, just, yeah, like, it almost comes across like even the Doctor himself doesn't want to change back.
Well, he is a bit burnt out.
Yeah.
I mean, this is still not long after the fall of Gallifrey. He's out of his PTSD stage, which is his 9th form, but he still has that lingering sadness.
Yeah. And yeah, like, even like, the more John Smith hears about what the Doctor was like, the more he's like, God damn it, you really want me to become the person again? Yeah, it's just so well done. Just everyone involved in that just like nails it. Especially David Tennant.
All right. Tim?
I really liked Tim and Martha Jones singing the praises of the Doctor to John Smith to like convince him to change it back, so to speak. Like that whole like speech, like he is fire and ice,
Ice and rage. He is the night and the storm and the heart of the sun. He burns at the center of time and watches the turn of the universe. And yet he's wonderful. Yeah, I know this whole speech. This is one of mine.
That's one of Randy's favorites. That's why I was holding back from that one.
That whole. I've listened to that speech a dozen times. It is one of those truly epic moments. It's an epic speech moment that's not actually given by the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I think it was delivered perfectly by.
Yes, it was.
His. So.
All right, Matt.
Trying to do a really good scene that I really like. I'm not trying to steal other people's. I'm going to go with the possible future flash forward. When he and the nurse hold hands.
That was another one of mine.
Yeah. Just some superb, like really quick flashes of acting, and then especially at the very end of it, that particular makeup for David Tennant was amazing. Still holds up.
Yeah.
That is a good moment, and it is just sad, so bittersweet.
Mm-hmm.
because that's the life he wanted, the life he would have had.
The very essence of the possibility of what he could have had and been. Yeah.
Yeah, the music for that is called Dream of a Normal Life.
Mm.
And it is, one of those compelling pieces of audio. It's another one. This is when Murray Gold was pure
That is
gold.
gold, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bill, how about you? You're going to take my last one.
So I'm thinking of two scenes that are literally back to back from one another, and I'm wondering which one is yours. Because I'm sure at least one of them is your choice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know which one, so I can take the other one as an alternate.
Okay.
Which one are you doing, Bill?
So I'll go with my top then, and that's going to be the I don't know if the scene has a name. It probably does, but the what was the quote? He wasn't hiding from them because he was afraid. He was hiding to be kind.
That scene is called the Fury of the Time Lord.
Fury of the Time Lord. Yes.
And yes, that was my number 3.
And all of the consequences.
Yep. He never raised his voice.
Never once raised his voice, and that was the most scary part.
The Fury of the Time Lord. To the father, he wrapped in unbreakable chains forged in the heart of a dwarf star. To the mother, he tricked into a collapsing galaxy to be held there for all eternity. He still visits my sister, once a year, every year. He imprisoned her in a mirror. Every mirror. And that's the point it gets freaky, because you're wondering how the hell he did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other two, you can see how he did that.
Right.
That one, you're like, how the hell did he do that?
Yeah. That's like some friggin' War Games Time Lord shit.
That's when you remember that this was written for the Doctor that regularly faces off against elder gods.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has ways of punishing people who should have known to stay away.
So the scene that I think that Bill was hinting at was the scene just before that, where the Doctor basically tricks them all into thinking he's still John Smith. It's an excellent bit as he goes around and just manages to pull all those levers. And just the moment where it's like, where's he gone? You tell me. And he catches that watch. And just immediately the switch flips. And he's pure Doctor from every line there on out. And it is a moment of awesome. It is a moment of epic, too, where he's just like, oh, and it looks like you've got power bleeding back in, and it's just,
Back
oh my
here.
God. You shouldn't have let me press all those buttons. And it's just pure David Tennant Doctor.
One word of advice.
He's not running, not hiding. He's being the Doctor, and you're just like, oh, they're so fucked.
Yeah.
Because this was him being clever and setting them up for something.
Of all the sequences that I would want them to just let, like, even if it's just at a con or something, just put the script in front of Sylvester McCoy and have him do his take on that.
I'd be surprised if no one's done that, but I haven't looked it up.
They've done a lot of, like, Capaldi speeches that they've had the other Doctors do. I don't remember them doing that.
Because I know a lot of Matt Smith's speeches were read by, like, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah, the one I can remember that they did a lot of was the definition of war speech from the Zygon inversion.
The Rings That Cotton one was also a very popular one for a while.
Yeah, that one too.
Anyway, yeah, that epic speech was just absolutely beautiful. And it's, like I said, it's delivered just perfectly by Tennant. All right, so now we're to least favorite scenes. I know this is another hard one.
Yeah, like this is one where I was almost gonna be nitpicky about the thing we were literally just talking about, in the sense that it almost seemed a bit he almost seemed a bit too jokey, Doctor. But instead, I'm going to go for the only thing that was really like, ugh, the delivery on that was a bit off. Is when sister of mine kills the headmaster, and then it's just like, what? Are you gonna shoot me? Go on then, sort of thing. And it's just like, I almost feel like it would have been creepier if she'd done that calmly. Like, if she hadn't tried to get, like, angry and, ooh, look at me, kind of thing. Like, if she'd just been like, do you really think you're actually gonna shoot me? Really? Like, if she'd just done it, like, calmly, instead of seeming to try to go over the top, but you can't quite do it.
Yeah, I can imagine Russell T in the back of this going, more camp! More camp!
Yeah.
Like, the other actors in the Family of Blood, like, they could make it work, but just this little girl is like, oh, bless her, she's trying.
She's definitely trying, but I think when she does psychic messages is when her better acting shows up, sadly.
Yeah.
She can't quite deliver live lines very well. Except for, I think the best live line she had was when she was pointing out that John Smith was the doctor. That one, they weren't demanding camp.
Let's see. Human Nature. What was the name of that character? Lucy Cartwright, wasn't it?
I think so.
Still, yeah.
Back.
The actress was called Lauren Wilson. And I'm seeing... no, I don't see if she did any other acting other than that.
Yeah, she doesn't even have a picture. Oh, actually, you're looking for Laura Wilson, which is her real name, apparently. And her last bit was Doctor Who Resurrection TV series. Dorothy Hyland. The Doctor Calls.
I have no idea what the hell that was.
Doctor Who Dark Legends. She's done a couple of weird things for Doctor Who.
Sure those aren't like video games or something?
They say TV series, but then they say both of these were only voiced, so I'm not sure what the hell to make of that.
Like, maybe it was an animated thing?
Maybe. The most are animated thing.
I looked up Doctor Who Resurrection, and I'm not seeing any actors I recognize. It says it's set in the Doctor Who 2012 universe, and it's set thousands of years in the future. So I'm guessing it's a fan thing, but it doesn't say anything about the origin.
Must be the same for Dark Legends then too.
Yeah.
She was in a TV miniseries called Supers. Going through the rest of this to see if there's anything else. No, there she is. Family of Blood, Human Nature. She did one other miniseries before then. Called The Shell Seekers. She's not done a lot, but she has done a bit of TV here and there, apparently. It's really awkward, by the way, that they IMDb mentions Doctor Who and it's 2007, but they show the most recent season's image.
Yeah. I was just seeing if she continued her acting career was all I wanted to know.
She apparently has been. She was a part of like 3 things last year.
The company that produced it says was an audio company, so maybe it's fan audio dramas.
If you look though, she really didn't do anything for about 9 years.
And then came back in 2016, yeah.
So she went to school.
Yeah. That's possibly what it was, is that she went to school and probably did a lot of stage stuff.
Yep.
So she's probably
Hmm.
trying to just get back into it again.
Yep.
Mm.
All right. Well, good luck to her.
Who's next?
Tim.
Okay, your least favorite scenes. There is one scene that just makes me feel awkward and uncomfortable, and I don't like it all. And that's the scene where they're training to target practice,
Mm,
and the one guy says, "Permission to put a beating on this guy," and John Smith just says, "Yeah, go ahead." And I'm like,
yeah.
Granted.
seeing
Yep.
seeing someone like not I know it's not the doctor, but seeing someone with the doctor's face endure bullying is just too
Yeah,
much.
modern days that would be considered bullying. Back at the time, though, was pretty much
Yeah.
considered tough love kind of
Yeah.
deal. They essentially
And
put
now
a
I want to
minor
see you
beating on you
react to
to make
Jessica
you wise
Jones
up.
season 1.
Oh God, yes.
What was that?
I'd like to see Tim react to Jessica Jones season 1. He'd be traumatized.
Yeah, I always kind of wrote that bit off as just being, well, we're trying to distinguish the fact that John Smith is absolutely not the Doctor,
And this is
and
the
like
the
him,
early
him,
19 teens.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, him approving of that is like, this is not the Doctor, like making it very clear. And that like, I will say the one thing that they don't seem to do with him is that he doesn't participate in the casual racism towards Martha.
Mhm.
Although he
Like
does
he
seem to
does,
get annoyed
there
when
is
she
like
doesn't
there
act
is
like a
like
proper maid once in a while.
yeah, there is like the kind of upper class, lower class dynamic going on where he like belittles her, but it's never like racially charged.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyway, Matt.
On to me. I'm trying to think. A least favorite scene out of all this. Um, I used it for the opening. I have to say the scene where a brother of mine first comes back to the school has got to be one of the most stilted, kind of awkward moments. Like he is literally even more than normal, bug-eyed and acting really strange.
Mm.
And even though he's trying to, and I quote, pretend to have the sniffles, he doesn't quite sell it, and it's just really kind of awkward. Even the Tom, who's in that scene too, is just like, "What the hell is his deal?" And immediately looks right at him. Although it could be the psychic thing, at the same time, I'm getting the feeling that he's seeing the same thing I am, and it's just like, "You're not
Yeah.
really the same guy right now, are you?
Hmm.
Something's very peculiar about you."
Yeah.
All right. Bill.
So I'm going to go with the scene of what kind of man didn't have a contingency in place of if he falls in love and Martha just not responding, even though she knows exactly, and like she doesn't know all the details, but she knows exactly why he wasn't thinking that, and she's just like, yeah, he's kind of a dick, or she just doesn't say anything, and like, really,
Yeah.
like there's a simple answer to that. Like, you're just gonna leave that?
That is, by the way, one of the primary differences between the novel and the actual episode. In the novel, the list of "don't let me do's" that the Doctor gives to I have God, what's her name?
Bernice Summerfield, I think.
Bernice Summerfield. Yes, indeed. Is one of them on the list is "don't let me fall in love."
Okay, now I have questions because I could never see Benny acting as a servant without like flipping her shit.
If I remember, she was kind of borderline flipping her shit.
So
The thing is, where the novel took place, the Doctor had just recovered from a heart attack and was feeling his mortality. And this whole thing was not an attempt to hide from monsters or anything. He was just curious to see what it was like to be a human.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's like a thing in the summary where it's like Bernice had also lost someone, and the
Mhm.
doctor realized he couldn't really relate to that experience.
Yeah. So he's trying all this, and the Arch is not a Time Lord construct, but given to him by the alien race, which turns out to be the family of blood.
Mm.
But he doesn't know that at the time, and they're basically tracking him through the freaking chameleon arch, which, by the way, was basically a big red ball in the novel.
Okay.
So,
So
like
that's where
I
that came
said,
from, and then they're like, let's retool this completely.
yeah, because poor Paul Cornell then got the chance to rewrite this as an episode and went, okay, so where did I go wrong in the novel, and let's correct that.
Mhm.
And I do think that the two-part episode comes out a lot better than the novel did. Because, the doctor does this, as an emergency thing. He doesn't do it as curiosity. The device is Time Lord tech, not anything else. It makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it does make a lot more sense, and it also added proper things that the doctor wouldn't be worried about, which he should actually be worried about. Like, again, him falling in love as a human.
Okay, so my least favorite scene is the scene where Barnes encounters the alien ship, or where it first lands, and he just looks on, and he has that weird bug-eyed look on his face already. And he just sits there for a moment like a puppet. It was
My
the one
entire...
moment,
I didn't have a... go ahead.
it was that, like, his one moment of bad acting, and I'm like, okay. Yeah.
To me, that was just a deer in the headlights moment.
The thing is, though, he already looked like a deer in the headlights before it happened.
Yeah, he went super extreme into it at that moment. It's just like...
Yeah.
He has no
It's
idea.
like he knew he couldn't bug out himself on command, so he did it before the beginning of the scene. So it just seemed like his expression didn't change. So I'm just like, yeah, okay. It's a nitpick. All right. Final thoughts, Thomas.
I had honestly not seen this episode in so damn long that I was almost kind of worried that it might not live up to the standard of like it being held up as one of the best of New Who. And I am so damn glad that like my worries were unfounded. Like this, like no question is easily among the top. I would just say 10, but I'd go to say as far as like possibly the top 5 or 3 as far as New Who stories that we've had. Possibly even just up there in like the top 10 of like all time Doctor Who stories. I'd have to obviously see like all of Old Who that I haven't seen to really come to a proper conclusion for that. But yeah, holy crap. This is definitely one of those ones where I would say that people getting into Doctor Who should go out of their way to watch this. Like, if you don't necessarily want to watch stuff in order, this doesn't. I mean, this ties into stuff at the end of the season, or like end of the series, I should say, but like nothing prior to this episode really leads into it. So you can really watch Human Nature Family Blood in isolation and it works. So
The
just
biggest continuity reference is basically the fact that he's mourning Rose.
pretty much, yeah. So like yeah, I would recommend like hell, I would say this is like if you had to give me like I had to come up with a very short list of episodes to recommend people who wanted to get into Doctor Who, this two-parter is something that would absolutely be on that list.
All right. Tim?
I think this is a great romantic story with a lot of heart, and there are some things that it touched on that were unfortunate, but they were unfortunate byproducts of the time period in which it was based, so I can easily forgive them for that. Plus, it has a psychic character named Tim, so how can I not love this episode?
Tim the Psychic Boy.
Yes.
Tim the Psychic, which is better, the Psychic or the Enchanter?
Oh, I'll leave it for the peanut gallery to decide that. We can have a tale of the tape.
What manner of you are you to create fire without flint or tinder?
Some who call me Tim.
Guys, I hate to push you, but my piddle pills are starting to kick in. So.
All right. But yeah, that's basically my take. Like, this is a good episode with a lot of heart and romance and love, and I love it.
Okay. Matt.
I want that scarecrow mask for myself. Again, I find it weird that it's so samey between all of them, but it's still a really good design. The acting is superb. The visuals are really good. The story is obviously needed this rewrite because it holds together really well for the most part. Just a lot of really good stuff came out of this particular episode, and that obviously needed the two-parter treatment because it's got so much it has to go through.
Imagine, by the way, Matt, a Batman movie using that mask for the Scarecrow.
That would be very effective, actually, and especially if he has the gas and stuff coming out of the face and everything.
Yeah, that definitely occurred to me as well.
Mm-hmm. Like I was saying earlier, the visuals are beyond superb for the most part because there are stuff that they do in the last couple of years that didn't hold up to the visuals in this episode. Just overall, a really solid episode that I do still highly recommend. I only needed to rewatch this just to brush up my memory of it. I didn't need to see it to get the plot.
All right.
This is a good one that sticks with you.
Bill.
Okay. The very first time I saw this episode, I was very confused and annoyed that I seemed to have missed the beginning of whatever was actually chasing them. In subsequent viewings and actually getting that, that's kind of something you don't really see until the end. Once I got over that, I would say it definitely became one of my favorite episodes. The fact that they've gone back and, that he went back and rewrote it for a new doctor or with an actual conflict in the beginning, definitely seems to have improved the story based on everything I've seen. And yeah, it's just a really great. It really helped me come to really enjoy the 10th Doctor and really see what he was capable of. And yeah, just a great episode. Even the issues with Martha are annoying, and I imagine there are people out there that would deem them a racist aspect of the episode. I think it was more just
it's more about being historically accurate.
I don't think that the fact that she was the black companion really factored into the way the season was written. It was just something that they didn't think much about, I think.
Yeah, they didn't worry about it. They just wanted to make it historically accurate.
Okay. So I did have a chance to read the novel before this episode came out, back when it was a free download from the BBC's website. I thought it was an okay novel, but when I heard they were adapting it into an episode, I was really, really excited. And when it came out, I'm just like, this is unbelievable. This is so much better than the novel. This makes so much more sense, and it still does to this day. I love this episode. This has always been a go-to two-parter for me. It is easily one of my favorites of all time. Yeah, there's not much I can say against this episode. It is beautiful, from the acting to the writing to the special effects. This is one where everything worked. Okay, ratings. Thomas.
The first time I watched this back, I was like, I knew exactly what I was giving it, and upon the rewatch, that did not change at all. This is getting a 5.
Yes, indeed. Tim.
I'm giving this a 0. No, I'm kidding. I'm giving this a 5.
Matt,
Tim gives it a 0. We give him the boot. Easy 5.
Bill.
Let's say a 5.
The panel is in full agreement. This is a 5.0 episode. It is going to join the other 7 5.0 episodes we have in the tie for first place. It is tied with Caves of Androzani, Sarah Jane Adventures, The Lost Boy, Remembrance of the Daleks, Hand of Fear, Face of Evil, Pyramids of Mars, Battlefield. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it's going.
And it is above everything else.
Yes. It is. This is easily. There's a reason this is the good, people.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with the good so we can be extra depressed when we move on to the bad.
I'm
Yes.
not looking forward to Gunslingers.
Yeah. Technically ranked 8, but that's because it's tied for first with 7 other things.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. Just for information, Tooth and Claw is now number 21.
Ooh, got pushed out of the top 20.
Barely. Mind you, it's tied with everything from 13 to 21, so there's a lot of 4.8s. Anyway, that's really all we have to say about Human Nature Family of Blood. 5.0, tied for first.
All right. Those watching us on YouTube, don't forget to comment below and tell us what you thought of Human Nature Family of Blood, if your scores are any different. Like if you liked the episode, and don't forget to subscribe to get our updates and to follow us on Twitch.
All right, next week we continue with the good and move into Tennant's final season. It's considered by many to be one of Tennant's best performances. It's Midnight, written by Russell T. Davies and starring David Tennant as the Doctor, with a quick appearance by Catherine Tate as Donna Noble.
Very quick.
Yep. See you next week.
Good night.
Night,
Yeah.
night.